Hello, my friends. It's good to see you again. My name is Jack Descartes, and this is Sentinel Circle. Thank you for being here today. So there's no article, there's no video, there's nothing like that. This is just me talking to you today. But I'm going to share with you the future of what this channel is trying to accomplish here. So I will admit, Sentinel Circle started as a YouTube channel, and as you've seen, the YouTube channel has slowly expanded. We're now currently at 26 subscribers. We have a bunch of pages, like I'm on Twitter, Facebook, a lot of different social networks. But I don't want it to just be me. It was never my intention for it to just be about me and me talking to you. That's been done in spades, okay? The reason why I created Sentinel Circle is to create a place for men, to create a home for men. And it's not a home as in a physical place, it's a metaphorical place, okay? So what I'm basically saying is this video is kind of like the opening session, as you will, for what I'm calling the Men's Haven Initiative. What is Men's Haven? Well, Men's Haven to me, and this could change at any time as people have their own suggestions and ideas and all that stuff, but Men's Haven is a place where men can freely express themselves without fear of judgment, fear of exposure, fear of having their life destroyed, whatever. Men need a space, okay? And I've seen that people have tried to create men's spaces. Like, I know the current joke out there is Joker in his men's retreat. I know Bo's trying to create a men's retreat as well. I'm not gonna go that far into it. You know, in the future, let's talk. We can talk about that. But right now, we have an obtainable goal. And that obtainable goal is to create, you know, like just a network of men, a network of like-minded men who they need friends. They need people that they can talk to on a daily basis without any judgment, without any reservation. And again, we're talking here. We're talking here online. We're talking here on YouTube. But that to me is not productive. That to me is more... It's still isolating. There's a difference between talking to people one-on-one, right? And yes, we do have friendships online. We do have people that we know online, but I'm more saying let's actually sit down together in person. That's the key here, in person, because human connection, and I'm not talking about human connection through a screen, physical human connection does wonders for the mind and the body. That is my ultimate goal right now. For Men's Haven is to create a place where men can go, even if it's for an hour a day, even if it's for an hour a week or an hour a month. A place where we can go, sit down, and talk about our problems, talk about our successes, our failures, our hopes, our dreams, our nightmares. A place where we can freely express ourselves. And I know what everyone's going to say. You know, they have too much on their plate, whatever. That's fine. There is no obligation. There'll never be an obligation. Okay? But I want it to be a place where we're always open to take you in. The main thing that I believe separates us is I'm planning on making it not a 12-step program. Okay? We're not going to do anything that is like a pathway. It's not going to be weird. You have to submit to a creator. You have to make amends. That kind of, no. I'm not going to do that. It's not going to be a denominational church. In fact, we're going to have a strict no religion, no politics rule in place, because I don't want things that divide men allowed in these spaces. Okay. What else do I want to say? I want it to be a place, like I said, I want it to be in person. Now, granted, I know we're going to have to start online. That's fine. That's what I'm saying, is an obtainable goal. All right. So what I intend to do is I want to basically create, like I said, a group of guys. That's it. A group of guys. We get together, we sit down, we talk. We open up about ourselves. We open about, I mean, it could be something as simple as, oh, I had a hard day at work. You know, maybe once in a while we have like a dinner, you know, a potluck kind of situation where the guys that can cook, they come and they bring food and we all sit down, eat, and have a good time. You know? So anyways, let me go over my plan. And here's my handy dandy phone. I have it written down. It's not much of a plan, okay? But it's kind of give us a couple of milestones that I'd like to accomplish. And as you've seen, I've updated the branding on all the sites. I've updated the messaging, even details like the description. I've streamlined it as best as I could to incorporate better links to different sites. But this is all just a very slow process. I mean, I can only work on it a few hours a day if I'm lucky. It's going to take time. Anyways, so my first goal is to build a website. Now, I already have a domain, and that's sentinelcircle.com. That's ready to go. The issue is I need to find some fairly cheap hosting. I tend to use either Bluehost or HostGator for my hosting purposes. I just don't have the funds to get a host going on this right now. But even if I did have the money, I don't have the website constructed. It's currently under construction locally on my computer as of right now. And when I feel it's ready to go, I will release it. Now, I'm not going to release this, YouTube counter. There's other places for that, but this is more a centralized location where all the social media, like this YouTube channel, Facebook, all that stuff, it's going to kind of guide men, young and old men, to this place where I can freely talk about my plans. I can show progress on everything. When we start having these groups, I would like to be able to present to all of you the progress of these groups. Have a calendar so that way we all know exactly where it is. It's just going to be more of a centralized location, because the problem with social media is when you have one site, that's great, but when you have multiple sites, it gets too much. It's hard to keep that updated. But with a website, at least you know that is going to be A, updated at all times, and B, it's always going to be accessible. A lot of people don't have Facebook. A lot of people don't have Instagram. A lot of people don't have a YouTube channel, or a YouTube profile, I should say. They don't have these things. And I don't want to kind of force people to get things that they don't want just to be able to participate with us. My goal with Sentinel Circle has always been about accessibility. There should be no barrier between us and you. Okay? So that's going to be step number 1. Again, let me get my notes here. I apologize. So the next step, and I have done a little bit of research on this. Now, I'm based out of Austin, Texas. Okay, so I know that that's going to be a barrier for a lot of people. A lot of people, like, for example, I know Homefront Forge is based out of Ohio, and I don't know where Rusty Rivers is based out of. There's other people in this channel that I don't know you because I don't see you guys. I'd like to, have a conversation with you guys. Please, at the very least, say hello. Announce yourself, so that way I know who you are. What in order to be in person, we have to find a space, and I would like to avoid churches because, again, to me, a church is kind of. I'm not a church-going guy. I believe in God. I'm not going to go too far into it, but I'm not a church-going guy. To me, going to a church kind of implies a religious aspect, and again, I'm trying my hardest to avoid the religious aspect because that's a barrier for people. Not everybody that we talk to is going to be religious. Not everybody that we talk to is going to be of the religion of our choosing. So I don't want people to feel like they're going to get preached to. I don't want that. So I'm trying to avoid a church. Now, if I have to go to a church and get space there, fine. Okay, I'll make peace with it, but I'm trying my hardest not to right now. The problem that I'm having is space in churches here or a community center that costs money. In fact, the best one that I've found so far at a church was $75 an hour, and that was a minimum of 2 hours per session. Which $150, that's a lot of money for me. And if I'm trying to do that, 4 times a month, that's what was it, $150, $300, $600. That's just for the space. I would like to provide snacks and coffee. If we decide to have a meal, obviously we'd have to have paper plates and cutlery, all that stuff. In fact, if we want to use a church's cooking facilities for food and stuff, that's a fee on top of that. The coffee machines that they provide, which is the big old industrial ones, that's a fee. So it adds up quickly. And I'm not saying this because I'm going to be begging for money here in a second, even though that's essentially what I'm going to do is ask for money. But my point is these costs are things that we need to overcome if we're going to have a space for men. Okay, so that's going to be my second step is I'm going to try and locate a place where we can go here in Austin. And again, the whole point is I would like to franchise this out. So if you know someone in an area that would be interested, have them reach out to me. Let's get something going together. This is not about me. This is not about Jack. This is about you guys. This is about creating a home for all men who are disenfranchised, who need a home, who need a place. That's my goal here. Anyways, so step number 3 is I do intend to do local outreach. Again, I have a YouTube channel, and that's great. Nothing wrong with that. But the problem is a lot of people don't really, how do I want to say? They don't know what they don't know. And YouTube, the problem is there's a lot of content on YouTube. I mean, YouTube's just went through its 20th year anniversary recently. 20 years of YouTube. Think about that. Think about all the channels, all the videos of all sorts of topics and stuff that you can. I mean, it's all right there at your fingertips. I watch videos every single day. I try to find new and interesting people to listen to. I try to reach out to them, and I can barely get through maybe 2 or 3 new people a day. Barely. And that's if I'm listening constantly, which with my job, there are times where I can't listen to YouTube. And I have to turn it off, which that slows me down even more. There's some days where I'd be lucky to listen to 1 video. So I would like to do outreach, and my idea was to create these QR code stickers. Stickers and like business cards and stuff. Just stickers, you can put them wherever, within reason. Don't use my stickers to vandalize, obviously, but stickers to if a business owner allows it, you can put the sticker up and people can use the QR code function on their phone to scan and either go to the website, which that's my goal, is to go to the website, or we can go to the YouTube, wherever. Okay. We have that business cards. We can go out into the streets, pass them out. Find a guy, pass it out. Hey, you need a friend? Give him a card. Come to Sentinel Circle. We'll take care of you. We'll definitely try and do that. But again, that costs money. The cheapest service that I've always found was oh God, what is I use their business card services all the time. Veriprint or something like that. It's something like that. I mean, Walmart, they do printing. Office Depot, they do printing. There's a lot of printing services out there. I would like to try and stay as local as possible to encourage a local business, help those people out, which that means it'll be a little bit more. But if I can't, there have been times where businesses have turned me away simply because they don't want to deal with it. But I want to try and give the little guy a chance. Okay. I mean, Walmart, they'll be fine. They'll be fine without my business. Same thing with Office Depot. They'll be fine. But the independent shop in town that produces business cards, that money means a lot to them. And I would like to try and support those businesses with my patronage, with your patronage. So I would like to do that. But again, it's going to cost money that, we gotta get. We got to get it somehow. And don't think that, well, let's talk about it here in a second. So that'll be that. And then my last step is I'd like to start hosting meetings. Now I know that initially the meetings that we're going to host will probably be online, which is fine. My two immediate goals is to get the website going and to start hosting like get-togethers, meetings, whatever you want to call them. I like the term meeting because it's more structured, and I kind of want this to be a little bit more on the structured side, where everybody gets a chance to sit down, talk. Maybe we have a topic that we would discuss. As you notice that sometimes my videos have a topic. In fact, I'm about ready to record a video on confidence in boys and men. And maybe that's a topic that we talk about in the meeting. Now, the meetings, they will not be recorded. They won't be published in any way. I don't want to do that to anyone. We might do, like, if people are comfortable, a known recorded meeting for those who are comfortable. So that way we can post it on the channel. In those cases, the people would always be, their identities would be protected. I promise you that. But it's not going to be one of those things where, okay, we're going to sit there and work on you and, we're going to tell you why you're a bad person, but this is how you improve. No. None of that. I'm not a therapist, for one. I don't pretend to be one. I'm not a psychologist, psychiatrist, whatever is you want to say. I'm not that. I'm just a guy. I have some problems. We all have problems. The biggest problem is loneliness. We don't have people in our lives that we can rely on, that we can talk to. At least me personally, my family's on the West Coast. I don't really talk to them all that much. I do have friends here in Austin, but I know that there is a market for this. And I'm saying market more in the sense of there are people out there that want this. not how are you going to make money off of this, because I want to create something that's authentic, that's real. I don't want it to be polished to the point where it's super shiny. I mean, there's going to be some production value, there's going to be some panache behind it, but I don't want it to be this, you go there and we demand 5,000 from you right off the bat. No. I want to keep this as free and as open as I possibly can. You know, there may be a point where we have to put some barriers in because we're having too many problems. We'll address that when we come to it. Okay? There's probably going to be memberships involved, again, as a barrier online, because, again, I've seen from people like Raymond's Thoughts and Minds, other smaller channels that I frequent, that there are trolls out there who all they want to do is say nasty things and talk about how they're doing better than us. And okay, well, that's great. You know, we're open to you when you do need us. But I want people to feel comfortable. I want people to feel relaxed and welcome. Okay? Mi casa y su casa, as the Hispanics would say. My house is your house. That's what I'm striving for with this Men's Haven initiative. Down the road, again, I'd like to franchise it out. So I'd like to have like maybe a mobile show where I go and, you know, meet up with people all around the country. You know, but that's we're talking years down the road. You know, my hope is this takes off. Who knows? I mean, the channel's done fairly well within a month. Like I said, we're at 26 subscribers. I got videos now that are getting hundreds of views. Oh, 100 views. But I never thought it would get to that point. And you'll see when we go into the comment section of this video that we're getting response. It was a little rocky at the start. I will say that one comment about how I don't need a YouTube channel, I need therapy, was kind of, I don't want to say hurtful. It was just more like, okay, well, you know, I'm sorry that this isn't your home. You know, come back later when we're bigger. Maybe you'll see it that way. You know, but I mean, I'm gonna pour my heart and soul out here. The main reason why I'm doing this is because this wasn't there for me when I needed it. And there are people out there that, you know, I feel they need help. And I don't mean help as in like psychological or whatever. I mean, this isn't there for that. This is more help in the sense of what it is to be a man. What does manhood look like? You know, even if it's so much as like mentorship, or even something more basic like tying a tie. You know, I think a lot of guys out there, they're all suffering from being alone. Loneliness is the big one. And I do see that there's a lot of people out there that feel this way. Now, I know that certain people have stated that they don't want friends, they just want a wife. Okay, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And if down the road you feel that, you know, you do want friendship, or you want a group or whatever, we're always available. It doesn't matter. We're always going to be there for you. But I didn't have this. And if it did exist, it wasn't advertised to me. And I think that's kind of the biggest problem with a lot of these men's groups, a lot of these groups in general, is there's no advertising. There's no you got to know someone to get there. There's no outreach. There's, and if there is, it's very limited. And I think that's kind of where a lot of these groups, they fall. They get to a point, a couple dozen guys, and then they're like, okay, we're good. We don't need to outreach anymore. And I get it. The bigger the group, the harder it is. I get that. And then, nonprofits, they struggle, whatever. I understand these concerns. I understand these issues. But again, there's so many people out there that need support, that need help. Even if it's just, a quick hand up. We'll never just do handouts. We'll always do hand ups. But with a lot of the groups out there, you have to jump through hoops to get in. Like, I know a lot of people feel weird about what I'm about to say, but I'm using it as an example. The Masonic temple. It's one of those things where once you join, like, you're really well taken care of, but you have to jump through all these hoops, and I don't know. My grandfather was a Mason. I know a little bit about it, but I don't have a desire to join an organization like that. And I know a lot of people don't have that desire either, for various reasons, be it religious or political or conspiratorial reasons. And that's again what I'm trying to do is I don't want that stigma. I don't want granted, there's always going to be a stigma. Any group is going to have a stigma. There's always going to be people that denounce a group for whatever reason. But I want this to be as free and as open and as transparent as possible. Okay? I want, if anyone came up and said, hey, I want to look at your books right now. I want to be able to whip out my book and say, here it is, take a look. Every single dollar is accounted for. Every single dollar is listed and has a purpose. I don't want any opacity to it. I want it to be as transparent as looking out a window. That's open, an open window. Let me rephrase, because sometimes the window's dirty, and you can't really see out a dirty window. But I want it to be as transparent as an open window. Anyways, so what you'll see soon, not now, but soon, is you'll see ways to donate. And I want you to take care of your financial house first. If you can donate, great. But I won't ever ask you to put the group before yourself. Ever. Okay, take care of yourself. If you got a family emergency, take care of your family emergency. If you need the money, keep the money. Okay, don't give it to me. But if you believe in something greater, if you believe in this mission, then please, I do ask you to donate. I'm going to create ways to donate once. Right now I have a Patreon. There's multiple tiers in the Patreon, but I'm only going to release the cheapest option first, which is it's $3, and I think you just get a thank you in my videos, because at the end of the video, soon, not now, soon, in fact, it'll probably start with this video, there's going to be a screen that says thank you, and it's going to have the accounts of people who donate as well as people who've helped in some significant way. In fact, I recently posted on the channel a thank you to 3 specific people: Raymond's Thoughts and Minds, Homefront Forge, and Captain Rusty Rivers. The reason why I did that is because they either inspired me or have been a significant influence on the channel. They've helped in a significant way, and I'm not saying that their contribution is any greater or lesser than anybody else's. Again, even if it's $3 a month, even if it's a donation of $1, it is greatly appreciated. You are just as welcome as everybody else. And if for some reason you stop donating after that point, your name is still going to be on that page. And then once the website gets going, we're going to have a thank you page right there, and your name is going to be on there. If you even donated $1, you will be immortalized in that website. As long as that website's up, your name's going to be up there. So that'll be the first step. And then down the road, as we get bigger and we need more money, but if I have better ways of monetizing things, we'll have a shop. We'll have bigger donation tiers. I want to try and keep all the content free and accessible, but maybe there will be you get a week access where you get content a week before everybody else. I don't have a concrete setup yet. I just have ideas. I'm writing down ideas. I mean, some ideas I have, they seem good at first, but then, I wake up the next day and they're like, that may not be a good idea. So, anyways, I've been babbling on too long. We got one more thing to go over. We're going to do the comments. So let me get the comments pulled up here. 1 second. We actually got quite a bit of comments this week. I was actually very surprised over it. And I'm going to let's do it this way this time around, since okay, so this is attempt 2. I recorded all this and realized that it was not on the display here. So, comments. I just realized my headset's on. Okay. All right. Sorry. Oh, we're having fun today. We're having fun. Okay, so the first comment, it was from Homefront Forge, and this is a post he put on his page, but I got the notification for it. So it says here, and in case you don't know who Homefront Forge is, he's the father of Raymond's Thoughts and Minds. Very good guy. I encourage you guys to go watch his stuff. I will admit, he's getting there, no judgment. He's trying. I do enjoy his content. Okay, I'm back. We had some technical difficulties. I already recorded the comments, and it didn't go well. So this is the second attempt. So the first comment is from Homefront Forge. It was a post on his channel. And I just want to say, I immensely... I feel I have a connection with Homefront because, in a way, he kind of reminds me of my father. Well, let's go through the comment first, and I'll continue that train of thought. So it says here, we are rapidly losing the places in our society where men find encouragement, community, and help. Sentinel Circle is creating a space for men for mutual support for mentorship. Stop by Jack's channel and check it out. I couldn't have put it better myself. My hair is... I need a haircut badly. I want to say, first of all, Homefront, I appreciated this more than you'd ever know. It's obvious that you understand what I'm trying to do here. And I can't begin to express my gratitude to both you and Raymond for everything you've done. For those of you who don't know Homefront, he's around. I see him in a lot of live streams like Aaron Clary. I see him specifically when Raymond's streaming. I always try and stop by and say hello to him. I don't know the man. I will be upfront. I don't even know his name. But in a lot of ways, he reminds me of my father. Well, at least the better parts of my father. There are certain aspects that I'll go ahead and say it. My relationship with my father recently has become strained. And a lot of that is as he's gotten older, he's gone further and further off the rails. And I don't know if it's because of his health failing, because I'll go ahead and just really give the long and the skinny of it. My father is a veteran, and he wasn't combat related injuries, even though he was combat arms, but he's had serious health issues regarding a training injury where it wasn't early in his life, it was much later in his life. He had both of his hips replaced. You know, because of this injury, he gained a lot of weight because it's hard for him to move. He wasn't very active. Like, he worked. And this is where my connection with Homefront comes from, is my father is a cabinet maker. Well, was. He's retired now because of health reasons. Growing up, I worked in my father's cabinet shop. You know, when he was self-employed, my grandmother had a building on her property, and my father used it to work at. And I'd always go out into the shop and I help him, and we would do school projects in the shop as well. And Homefront, granted, you know, he's a general contractor, so he's on the job site. I didn't really go to job sites. The only time I went with my father to job sites is he would go take measurements, or he would go and install the cabinets, and the installs were the worst. I don't enjoy installs, and it's funny because in my job now, I do installs. I still hate him. Anyways, so I feel I have that connection with Homefront because he reminds me of that. But like I said, as my father's gotten older, he's gotten more and more difficult to talk to. My father is big into motorcycles now. And the older he's getting, the harder it is to get to talk to him, because he wants to frame every single conversation in the context of motorcycle riding. You know, and the conversation may not have anything to do with motorcycles, and he insists on finding a way to connect to it. And then, of course, like, he's a big Harley Davidson guy, and we all know what happened with Harley Davidson. I won't go into that here. Which also caused a rift between myself and my father. And when I was younger, my father especially, there was a gentleman that I knew. I won't say the name, but he once told me that if I want to have a relationship with my father, I have to be the one to adapt. And there has never been a truer phrase uttered to me than that. And I wish I could have a better relationship with my father, but it's gotten to a point where it's so tedious and frustrating to talk to him that I rather just not talk to him at all. And like I said, with Homefront, I'm going to get a little too mushy, and I apologize if that's not what you're here for, but this is coming from the heart. Homefront is I can tell, he's a very special man. And the way that Raymond talks about him in his live streams, it's obvious that Raymond does revere his father. And I mean, Raymond did state a couple times that he had a distant relationship with his father until recently, and he started working with him. And some of the best childhood memories I have is with working with my father. And there have been times where I miss those days. We would go work and we'd talk about anything under the sun, and we listen to Rush, and I truly miss those days sometimes. Anyways, I'm glad that Homefront, he has a very good family, a very strong family. It's obvious that he's a good man, a very good man. I don't know him. The guy could be, a complete psycho for all I know, but I like to think that he's a good man. And I hope he sees this part of the video. I really hope so, because I want him to hear that from me. Anyways, Homefront, again, thank you for the very lovely comment. I really do appreciate it very much for your continued help and support. It's very much appreciated. Anyways, next video or next comment came from a Mr. Frank Rizzo. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And it was under the video talking about the UK government saying that boys are having issues with gaming and adult content. And it says here, I always thought the problem was 40 years of 85% divorce rates with a 95% chance of having your kids stolen from you and being forced into 18 years of wage slavery to support a woman that is living for free with her new boyfriend. I thought this was due to life being pointless now because our society offers zero opportunity for a man to have family. Frank, thank you for the comment. And you're absolutely right. There's an epidemic of men giving up, and it's... I fully agree that if a man doesn't see a light at the end of the tunnel, and I've always said this, there has to be a light at the end of the tunnel. If there isn't, then what's the point? We have a lot of problems, and I know Sentinel Circle is not going to even solve one, but I can't just sit idling by. I would hope that people like Frank can't sit idling by. Maybe, you know, that's all he can offer is a comment, which a comment is it's good. It's more productive than just sitting there watching TV and doing nothing. Like it can be very productive. And again, thank you, Frank, for the comment. It really goes to the heart of one of the big problems with society, which is, you know, if you're not getting a family, you're not getting kids that are actually going to be there for you, then what's the point? I mean, I honestly believe that the main reason why men self-delete between the ages of, we'll go with 25 and 50, we'll say that, is because they lose their family. I honestly think that that's what it is. If I had to peg it down to one, and I'm not saying that's the sole, but I think the bulk of the reason is that. Because follow me on this logic here. Men are not the primary custody holders. Men do not initiate the bulk of the divorces. Men statistically, and I don't have any statistics to back this up, but right off the hand here, but I know that statistically, men do not engage in adultery at rates that, like, men seek it out. There's a fantasy component, and they go to places like adamandeve.com to go find it. But I strongly believe that women are more than likely to have affairs, and that's what destroys relationships. And I don't mean affairs as in just physical, like there could be emotional affairs, whatever. You know, in fact, I'll make a very controversial statement right here. I think that men are more romantic than women, because when you really think about it, men are the ones that plan everything. You know, they plan the dinner dates, they plan flowers, they plan whatever it is under the sun. Women, on the other hand, they're not romantic. And that's probably going to be the most controversial statement of this video, is I think that men, they take it harder when they lose, you know, quote unquote, the one. And they have this idea of 2-story house, white picket fence, 2.5 children. Where's that child coming from? I don't know, but there's 2.5 children involved. And I think, because like when you talk to men and women, right? Men always talk about that, but women always talk about the wedding. They don't talk about, you know, like a husband, family, kids, all that stuff. They always talk about the wedding, and maybe I'll do a video on that controversial statement. And again, I don't really have stats to back this up. This is more just my observation. And I know this isn't just my observation. This is a lot of people's observations. But I honestly do believe that, you know, men need to have a family to feel useful. You take away the family, they don't feel useful. And when men don't have purpose, they don't have a reason, a why, that's when they get really depressed. And that's where the self-deletion comes from. Anyways, again, Frank, great comment. Love it. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for the comment. I appreciate it. Okay, next video. Sam Fisher, 9413. Pardon me. Next comment. Sam Fisher, 9413. It was the same video. Also, they want young men to take on all this responsibility, but none of the authority or the autonomy. And this is true. They want to control men through things like debt, child support, work, you know, I've noticed that there's always all this stuff that's designed to try and control men. I don't know why. You know, that may be a topic that I research and do a bigger video. I don't know. Okay, but I will agree with you. It seems like men are supposed to take on all this responsibility. You know, we're supposed to be responsible for ourselves and others. In fact, I got a friend, he's been complaining recently because he had kids really young that he's like, I've never been on my own except for a couple years, and he wants that so badly. He's tired of taking care of other people's problems. You know, if it's not his wife, it's his sisters. And I got to be honest with you, I was in a voice conference with him and his sister because his sister blew a tire on Interstate 5 in California, and not only did she not know what to do, but it was just like she wouldn't stop whining and crying and screaming for 5 seconds for us to figure out what to do for her. Oh my goodness, I felt bad for him. I don't have sisters. I'm very either fortunate or unfortunate in that regard, but it was bad. And the fact is she drove this beater from Mexico, because she lives in Mexico, all the way up the West Coast to go visit him. And like, when I say a beater, I mean a beater with the kids in the car. Like, that thing is borderline not road legal. That's how bad it was. And I mean, you know, the car broke down, and I mean, I was close enough where I could have gone and used my points to go get her a hotel room. And I'll have to tell that story in detail because it was just like, oh my, I mean, I had to take a whole day off after that because I was so frustrated with the situation. Oh, it was heinous. Like, that's the best word to describe it. It was heinous. But yeah, again, Sam Fisher, thank you again for the comment. Great comment. Rusty, Captain Rusty Rivers, salute. I don't. Oh, it was the Sentinel Circle video, the clarification video. He posted. Guys, I gotta say, Rusty Rivers, he's quite the character. I like Rusty so much. He's a good guy. I haven't talked to him too much, but I could tell he's one of those. He's like the fun uncle. If Homefront's the father, Rusty's the fun uncle. He's the kind of guy that, you know, you turn 13 years old and he's like, hey bud, here's a beer. He gives you a swig. I'm not saying Rusty would do it, but that's who he seems like to me. He's a really good guy. I respect him. I like him. Oh man. Rusty, if you're seeing this, please, you entertain me so much. I hope you live to 150 years old. Oh, anyways, thank you, Rusty. I appreciate the comment. And then we got one more comment here under the same clarification video for Sentinel Circle. Brad's strung out. It says here, making videos is quite hit and miss, and usually more miss. My creative stuff gets hundreds of views. Guitar and art, my opinion videos get a handful of views. You'll figure it out. Anything non-liberal makes slow traction. That's just the way the world is. And he makes very good points. I recently did a video on adolescence, and I'll tell the story again. I initially wanted nothing to do with it. It was only until I watched Carl Benjamin's video on it, where he goes into the systems designed to break men aspect. And I gotta tell you, watching adolescence with going into that was just, it was hard to do. I'm not going to sit there and say that people should watch it. I really don't think you should. You shouldn't encourage it. But at the same time, and there's going to be another video that we do in the future about a topic that I wanted to cover about men in media. But adolescence was pretty hard for me to watch. They don't give concrete answers, and honestly, I think that that's kind of like a realistic interpretation of what happens out, because there's no concrete answers. You know, when I was in jail and I spoke with some of the inmates, there were inmates that they're like, yeah, I did it. Okay, I did it. There was one guy in particular. He was accused of theft of like a chainsaw and stuff like that. And I remember this distinctly. The police was describing the truck that was being used, and they described it as a green truck. Well, the guy's truck in his case was actually blue, and the picture that was being sent to like the prosecutor to defense from the police department, it was black and white. And he's like, well, you know, what crap is this? And I guess what it boils down to is like, there's so blatant disregard for details in court cases, and that's why I get so frustrated. And I'm not one of those people that's like pro innocence. I got a problem with Innocence Project that I'll go into in the future. But my point is I believe that if certain details was allowed in certain cases, it would completely flip the entire script on certain cases. And I believe that with the way that my attorney told me about how it's a game, I honestly think that playing around with people's lives is disgusting. But the problem is we do it every single day. Excuse me. I won't really go too much further into that because now I'm starting to get in the weeds. But my point was I thought that video would gain traction. It didn't. As possible that maybe I didn't. There's a lot of factors involved. I will say that like my videos lately have been gaining more traction, which is good. You know, I'm at 26 subscribers now as of the 26th of April. We're doing really good. You know, I never thought we would get this far. I honestly thought it'd probably be like 5 people, and that's just where it would stay. And you know, those 5 people would always watch, but I just had 5 people, which I'm not disparaging that. I mean, if I reach out to one person, I feel I've done my job, and I've reached out to 26 people. So, you know, I believe that YouTube is just a very fickle mistress. Sometimes things just work out, like the stars align and things just magically do well, and then there's other times where you think you got a banger of a video, you pour your heart and soul into it, and only 4 people watch it, and one dude says, well, you're an idiot. Okay. But hey, you know, that's life. You know, they all, I mean, when you really think about it, YouTube's been around for 20 years at this point, and think about how many videos have been posted over the years. That's 20 years of videos from millions of people all around the world in different languages. I mean, it's YouTube is, when you really sit down and think about the logistics behind YouTube, because it doesn't just go into thin air, even though it seems like it has to be stored somewhere. And just YouTube is a modern marvel. I don't think any of our ancestors would have ever thought that was possible, that some idiot in the middle of God knows where can just crank out a video, and people around the world not only watch it, but they comment on it. And I mean, you think about how much information is out there. I mean, we talk about the Library of Alexandria as a world marvel, and like, you go to YouTube, and I mean, there's gems. I mean, yes, it's quite a bit of it's slop, but there's some really serious gems on YouTube. I mean, it just blows my mind when you really sit down and think about the marvel of YouTube. It's possibly like, it's so easy. You buy a camera, you buy a microphone, you sit down. I mean, if you have just a smartphone at this point, that's all you need. It's not going to be great, it's not going to be pretty, but that's all you need. And you sit down and you just share your wisdom, you share your story. Our ancestors could only have dreamed of such a thing. I mean, we talk about the times of old where the village elder would just tell a story every night and everybody would listen to him. But now it's like we can pick whatever story we want to listen to every night. It's just, it's a modern marvel. Anyways, Brad, I appreciate it. I appreciate the encouragement. Thank you so much, my friend. Okay, so we're gonna switch on over. So, no final thoughts today because there was no article or anything. I would like to conclude, though. I'm going to release another video once the Patreon is released to encourage it, and then you'll start seeing advertisement blocks on my videos. They will be skippable. Okay? I will make sure that it's chaptered out so you can skip it, or I can wait until the end of the video and put it on there. There's going to be one other change that you're going to notice as of this video. The end of the video, you're going to see a placard with, it's going to be titled "Thanks" at the top, and anybody who donates to Patreon or has contributed to this channel or Sentinel Circle in some significant way will be immortalized there. Okay? And that's basically, like, it's like I said, it's gonna basically start as of today. Well, in a way, it actually started a couple days ago with my posts thanking Raymond and Homefront and Rusty. You don't have to give money to be thanked. There are other ways to be thanked, to be recognized. So I don't want you to think that, like, you just throw money at the problem and no. We're not about that. Okay? Okay, well, I guess that's it. Thank you so much for being here, my friends. My name is Jack, and this is Sentinel Circle. Have a great day, and again, like, subscribe, click the bell, all that good stuff. Comments especially are good. They really start a conversation. And then, of course, I have other social medias. Linktree is the best way to get to any of the social media sites. I don't want my descriptions cluttered. I think that's too much. So Linktree, if you want to know exactly where I'm at, click the Linktree link, and eventually that's going to switch over to Card. I think, I don't quite know. I'm still looking at Card, and because I like the whole personalization of Card, but I got to sit down and actually play around with Illustrator and Photoshop to create something special, and I don't want to churn out something I'm not fully proud of. So for the time being, Linktree is the way to really see where I'm at. And as links get activated, you'll see them more and more on Linktree. Linktree is free. You just click it and it gives like a little list of everything that we're at. Just don't hesitate, okay? And again, if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment on any video. I will see it. Or you can leave it on a post in the post page, or you can send me an email directly and I will answer it. Okay? All right, well, thank you very much, friends. Have a good day. Bye.